for you, but for the United States it is. But hey, thanks for stopping by, everybody. I am gonna have this Q&A for maybe an hour. Now, okay, someone already did a super chat. Now I'm gonna try to answer as many questions as I can, but just as Connie just did, you can do super chats, and I will be able to see your questions a little bit better, and I will prioritize those. So thank you, Connie. But yeah, let's start the Q&A. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I'm gonna sit. Yeah, maybe up until 9:30, maybe 9:45. I'm gonna run this, and just a quick note, I do want to let you guys know that it is Black Friday in the States, and I'm going to have a little bit of Black Friday sale myself on PicFitShop.com. If you guys would like to check that out, 30% off all t-shirts. But I'm not going to bombard you guys right now with that. Let's get to some questions. So let's start with Connie's question. I hope I'm saying your name right. My left bicep is smaller than my right. What is the best way to make them even? So I am assuming you are a beginner, and usually what I tell beginners that have concerns about different muscle sizes, especially with your arms, is to keep training first and foremost. You can continue your bilateral training, your two arm training, your barbell bicep curls, or even your single arm curls. Try to keep the weights similar on both sides for now, and just give it some time. It's going to take some time to develop, especially on the side that you're not more used to using. You can try something like mind muscle connection, which does have some kind of connection to certain theories that might promote greater muscle growth on a particular muscle you're concentrating, because it does increase stimulation of said muscle, which might increase metabolites, other growth factors kicking in, and hopefully that can help you grow that muscle that you're more concerned about. But for the most part, I always suggest people to, hey, just keep training. If you're a beginner, things are not going to look exactly like what you want it to look. Keep training, do the things that you need to do, follow a program, especially a program that will have accessory work for your biceps, and see what that can do for you over time. But again, I would say at least give it 6 months, 1 year, to see any type of significant changes on both sides. And if it is a very noticeable difference at that point, then you might want to address this with some more unilateral work, or even look into your form, and you might be favoring one side or the other. But for the most part, beginners, take your time with it. Don't need to rush it. Just, keep training. Hello. You sound like a scientific paper, even though you're not reading a text. Who said I'm not? Maybe Connie paid me to read a text. You never know. But yeah, this is how I sound for the most part. Do you have a favorite pre-workout drink, energy drink? I don't drink energy drinks for pre-workouts. I do have a pre-workout. Now, usually I don't announce or say anything about certain brands, because I don't want it to seem like some sort of endorsement. But for the most part, I do try very different ones. Right now, the one I'm trying is Cellucor C4, which is very, very, very common and popular. And for the most part, that works for me. I really feel the beta-alanine tingles, the paresthesia, you can call it. And it's cool. It has a decent amount of caffeine for me. There's multiple amounts, so you have like the extreme or whatever, and that I believe that one has like about 320 milligrams of caffeine, which is pretty high for a lot of people. So I took the one with around 180 milligrams, and then it has this beta-alanine and all that fun stuff in it. Let's keep going. I hope you guys liked the video yesterday. If you guys didn't watch it, please come check it out if you haven't. Feel free to let me know what you think about it if you did. But yeah, let's keep going. Thoughts on knees over feet during squats? That's okay, especially if you're doing something like if you're not used to doing something that is more of a low back squat, you might have your knees shooting over your feet, and that's okay. Like, people will have that issue. Now, the only thing that I would recommend is that you try to train yourself, especially with a high bar squat, is to not overshoot on your knees or overshoot on your feet with your knees, just so you can practice that more upright mobility, upright dropping down with your squat rather than pushing your hips back and then having your knees shoot forward. That might help with a little bit more just trying to stay upright so you can push more or have a more aligned squat form. That way you do push more with your quads, and you don't have to be too overly concerned about overshooting and having a lot of your low back kick in when you do your squats. Any tips on bulking? Well, for the most part, I'm sorry I can't really say your name, it's pretty tough. you're eating right, you're eating enough, you're eating your surpluses. So if you haven't seen my bulking videos, for the most part, bulking is as straightforward as it will sound. You will eat more than your total daily energy expenditure. So the hardest part is just figuring out what your TDE is first and foremost. So you can use like different TDE calculators on the internet. I believe one's called tdecalc.com or .net. I'm not sure. I forgot exactly. But search what that is first and try to calculate for yourself. Now, the problem with a lot of TDE calculators out there is that it's only an estimate, right? So you can use it. You can punch all the numbers. It's going to ask for different anthropometric measures. You punch all that in, and it's going to shoot out a number. And what you can try to do is to just take that number and try to eat that amount of calories for like a week or so. If you don't gain, or maybe 2 weeks, if you don't gain any weight during that 2-week time frame, then you can say, okay, it's pretty close to my maintenance, and I'm going to try to stay there. Or I know that's my maintenance, and that means if I want to bulk, then I'm going to try to eat a little bit more than that moving forward. But if you're losing weight on that number that they punched out, then it's actually a deficit, so you have to eat a little bit more. So your actual TDE is a little bit higher. Or if you're already gaining weight while following the TDE, then you know that you are already kind of in a bulk, and your actual TDE is a little bit lower. So for the most part, find out that estimate first. See if it's an actual accurate estimate. If it is, then cool. If you want to bulk, you're going to eat a little bit more. Then, of course, you need to train. So follow a program that's catered mostly to hypertrophy. But it can be like a power hypertrophy program or more like a strength mixed hypertrophy undulated program. That's fine too. But that's your basics. If you struggle figuring out how to apply those basics for yourself, then you're going to need a more nuanced and specific answer. But it also requires more details on your end. And if you feel like you want to do that, you feel free to join our Discord community. And we're more than happy to help. And that's discord.gg/PictureFit. So come check it out. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Appreciate it. Thoughts about the game changers, especially on the benefits of eliminating cholesterol and trans fat. Tips when I hit plateau on deadlift. Okay, you're asking a lot of questions. First thing about game changers, I'll be honest, I have not watched it. I have watched some critique on it, and as far as I can tell, it follows the same type of documentary, cliche, make things seem either better or worse than it really is, and use very specific anecdotes or very specific context of science, of research, to try to push a point. So for the most part, it blows things out of proportion for its own favor, and then it undermines or really plays little to things that are more on the average side. So again, I haven't watched it, so to be completely honest, I can't fully comment on it, but what I understand and have seen with other documentaries of very similar nature is that a lot of things work, and the idea of one thing being extremely superior to another is kind of bogus. A lot of things work. Like, even I can tell you right now, like, I would advocate for you to get protein mainly from, like, animal sources or dairy sources. But to be honest with you, plant sources work just as fine. But you might require certain higher dosages to reach certain amounts of specific amino acids. So for like your BCAAs, your leucines, you do need leucine just to stimulate your muscle protein synthesis, especially after workout. But it doesn't have to be timed correctly. But so in that case, plant-based proteins do have lower levels of leucine, so you will have to eat a little bit more just to hit that leucine threshold for your body, and thus, you might consider that a little bit inferior compared to something like whey, which will have hit your leucine thresholds a lot faster with smaller amounts. But for the most part, it can work fine. And the thing about a lot of these documentaries is that you take somebody that had lived an animal-based diet for most of their lives, and then all of a sudden you transition them to plant-based, and if they improve better, great. But for the most part, it's that they maintain, and it's not necessarily because they switched to plant-based. It's the fact that they built themselves up to that point with their animal-based diet, and then they're able to maintain with plant-based. Cool. That's nothing exactly mind-blowing. But again, I haven't watched the documentary. I don't plan to watch it. So if you want to see someone break it down like minute by minute or whatever, I'm probably not the person for you. I just don't find time or enjoyment in watching documentaries like that, as much as relevant as it is to my own career of health and fitness. Can I show my face? I get this a lot. For the most part, for now, probably not. So you guys can keep asking, I guess, but I don't have any intentions. Like, you guys, for the ones that already followed me for quite a while now, you know why it doesn't matter to me, right? It's like, I don't really care about myself being the forefront of the information. I'd rather have the information speak for itself. So I understand why you guys want to connect a face to a certain persona and so on. Of course, you want to create that relatability. You want to see if I'm actually fit and all that fun stuff. But again, I just let the research speak for itself, not myself. And then if you have questions or criticism for the information or how I interpret it, feel free to call me out, because that's what it's all about. It's not about me. It's about the information. And if you don't like how I'm telling you the information, then tell me. Then I'll try to do better. And if I don't do better, or I have like maybe arguments or debates about how you criticize my interpretations, and then I'm just going to tell you, and then we have a little bit of a argument if you like. But for the most part, I don't really care about me being the forefront of my videos, and I'm going to keep it that way. When I do deadlifts near failure, it becomes dark in my eyes. Ooh, that sounds bad. Just like when I stand up really quickly. Any tips on what to do? So you might be just shot with lack of oxygen, especially if you have very strong constrictions during your deadlifts, which a lot of people do. So that's why people get lightheaded whenever they do very heavy deadlifts. What I can recommend for you is that if you're doing like a 5-rep max, or like you're going for 3 to 5 rep ranges within your deadlifts, don't shoot for failure. It's just too, especially with deadlifts. It's mainly specifically to deadlifts, just because of the complexity of the movement and the fact that it does have a lot of constrictions. You just don't want to have to put yourself in a position where you might pass out, you might get too lightheaded, where you just don't feel good, So some movements, it just doesn't make sense to go to failure, and by far the movement that would relate to that the most is deadlifts. So what I can recommend for you is that if you want to get stronger, you don't necessarily have to train to that point where you're going near failure, or even like very near failure with deadlifts. You can just stick with a 5-rep range and then do like 1 to 2 reps in reserve, and you should be fine. Don't push it too far. And if you feel like you might have weak accessories, or you have weak glutes, hams, whatever, you want to specifically pinpoint to those, then you can do things like glute ham raises, Nordic curls, and just target those more specifically, rather than just try and grind out heavier and heavier deadlifts. Because for the most part about deadlifts is that it will take a lot of time to recover as well. So even doing like a 5 by 5 reps for an RP of 8 or 9 is still very taxing on your body, and you will feel it the next day, and it's going to take a little bit more time to recover. But you will get those gains. It's as long as you're on top of your nutrition, you're on top of your actual training. Try to hit that 2 times a week, and you will see that strength go up. So don't worry about having to go to failure so often, especially with deadlifts. Did I get my protein today? I haven't actually. It's pretty early for me, and I had a long 2 days. Long 2 days, Thanksgiving and the day before. So I didn't get a lot of sleep. I woke up around, I want to say like 7:30 today. So it's been a little bit slow and groggy morning for me. But I feel better. So I got enough sleep to run this Q&A. I feel pretty good. Nothing's feeling slow. I might feel a little bit sluggish on my words, but I try to sound as good as I can. And if some things don't make sense, please let me know. Terry D-Town, I want to increase my calories due to lack of weight gain. Which of the macronutrients should I increase? Of course, if you ask me, it's going to be protein, but only because you will have a little bit less trouble gaining fat, which is probably what you want when you're gaining weight. So apparently, if you eat more protein, chances of gaining fat is a lot lower compared to eating more carbs and fats. But for the most part, if you're not even gaining any weight, then I would first and foremost tell you, try to hit your protein range. So whatever it might be 1.6, 1.8 grams per kilogram. Hit that range first, and then try to fill up everything else with carbs and fats. Of course, you want at least like a minimum intake of fats to about 20 to 25%, and then you start filling everything else with whatever you can. If you have trouble just doing that, like it's just the fact that you can't eat that much, then I'll look into more making your own shakes at home. So make like a protein shake, but mix it in with like some nuts, some fruits, whatever, anything you can add that will add more calories. Of course, nothing that's too processed, but try to add as much as you can into that shake, so you can't just have one like big calorie bomb. But For the most part, you'd want just to eat your meals and try to hit your calories that way. But if you can't, that's what I would recommend. Just creating your own kind of homemade shake that will allow you to increase your calories fairly easily compared to trying to eat more meats, or even like down more plants, whatever it is. That might be better for you. How to avoid stretch marks while losing weight or gaining muscle. This is the one that I could never figure out myself. Of course, the best answer is to be more gradual with your gain or your loss. But I've always had trouble with stretch marks, and for the most part, I just ignore it at this point. I don't. I mean, as you grow older, a lot of things start mattering a lot less. So stretch marks for me would be one of those. Before I would try like aloe vera to try to mitigate it, but I really don't notice the difference. And if you've had it for quite a while now, I feel that you kind of had to bear with it at this point, and hopefully it goes away. But for the most part, I don't have the research, and I've never done research to figure out about stretch marks because it's never been a big issue for me. Of course, it might be a big issue for you guys, so it might be something I will look into in the future. But for now, I don't exactly have the answer for that. Which brand of whey protein do you recommend? So again, just a heads up, I'm not trying to promote. I'm just more so, recommending based on what I use and what I'm used to. Now, okay, for this, I would just recommend you look at Labdoor.com. So let me type that out on the chat. So thank you again for the super chat. Are you a different person? I'm not sure. Sorry if it is. Okay, then but go to Labdoor.com, and they'll break it down for you. They'll have different rankings for different proteins, protein shakes, and different supplements for the most part. So what they look into is like protein value, protein digestibility, protein content. So even though like a certain protein shake supplement might say that it has 30 grams of protein, it might not actually have that many. And it might not have the best amino acid profile that it should. It might be different, or there's other fortifications that goes into it that doesn't necessarily was never advertised within the product itself. So look at Labdoor.com. They do a pretty good analysis for a lot of the protein supplements out there, and they'll give you a more neutral, I want to say. Of course, I don't know for sure if they have like any high biases for themselves. Like at this point, they're pretty big, and I wouldn't be surprised if like, I don't know, someone try to buy them out or something. But I don't know, so I'm just kind of curious about that. But for the most part, they seem reliable, and I do usually I'll get like one of the top 5 protein shakes in there, so it works for me. So maybe you should check that out yourself. I'm a medical student, and my stereotype sits 24/7 on books. What's the best advice you give in terms of getting fit? So don't be your stereotype, I guess. I'm not sure what you want me to tell you. So if you are studying a lot, or you are busy working a lot, whatever it might be, there's always some time. Like the fact that you're here now checking out this chat, which thank you, I appreciate it. But if you do have time to check out chats like this, if you browse on the internet a lot, take that time and translate it to going to the gym. That's pretty much it. Like you have to be real with yourself. Look at the times that you use during your day that you have for free, like now. What can you do with that time? Do you want to just sit around and be lazy? Okay, that's fine. Or do you want to take that time and do something, which is great. And then if you can do it again and again and again, hopefully you can build it into a habit. So for the most part, you kind of have to evaluate where you stand on how serious you want to be with your training first and foremost, and then how you prioritize your fitness overall. So if you prioritize it very highly, like most people should, then you probably wouldn't be sitting here. And I'm not trying to call you out or anything, just to let you know, this applies to a lot of people. But if you do prioritize it high enough, then you should take this time that you are here now, just leave the chat, leave the stream, and start doing something. Go for a walk, go for a run, go to the gym, whatever you feel like you can do. Something different. Just don't get comfortable. Impact, how are you? How was your day? So my day just kind of started, and it's going well pretty so far. I mean, nothing's going bad in the chat. If I miss some of your questions, which I have, of course, I'm sorry, but I will try to answer as many questions as you can. Of course, like I said, if you do, you can do the super chat. No pressure. So I'm going to try to get to your questions as much as I can. But of course, if you do the super chat, it will prioritize your question to me, and I'll say thank you first and foremost. And then I'll make sure I'll answer your questions as I can. See, that's a super chat right there. I'm not sure how much that is, but that's cool. Appreciate it. I think blue box is kind of the lower end, but that's cool. Super chat still cool. Should skinny fat stay in calorie deficits doing resistance training? You don't have to. So you can actually be in a bulk during your skinny fat. And the thing about this is that, of course, people are going to be concerned about getting too fat, especially when they're kind of skinny fat. But the fact that you start at a lower threshold because you have so little muscle mass, you're going to build muscle fairly quickly. And of course, you're going to put maybe on some more absolute fat, but the relative level of muscle that you're going to gain versus the relative amount of fat that you're going to have is going to start favoring more muscle. So you can be in a bulk, and maybe it's suggested as long as your skinny fat is not that bad, like you're actually close to 15% body fat, and you just look kind of skinny fat because you don't have a lot of muscle mass, then being in a slight bulk, it might not be a bad thing. Of course, if you just want to start shedding that fat, then you might want to consider a deficit or even like a staying near maintenance and then gaining muscle while hopefully you lose some fat at the same time. Sounds cool? What got you into, well, thank you again, Casey, for the super chat. Appreciate it. What got you into doing this YouTube channel? So I've been doing fitness for pretty much my whole life. It's always been like one of the top topics of my life, like ever since I was 11 years old, pretty much. Like the first thing I ever did, like first time I ever fell in love with like working out or just training or just fitness was when my brother, which was 14 at the time, happened to like bump into some weird stone dumbbells outside of our apartment building. And we were poor, so we couldn't afford to go to the gym or even have our own equipment or anything. So he found those like thrown out next to a dumpster or something, brought it back in, we cleaned it, and then we started like just messing around with some dumbbells. And I think it was like at most it was like 10 pounds, but that thing felt heavy as hell when you're 11 years old, right? So after I started like messing around with it, like, man, this is fun, this is cool. I can like build my muscle, and I've always been like a little small guy, so being able to like at least look fit even though I'm small was always like a good thing for me. So eventually I built like a lot of interest into that kind of stuff, which helped a lot with like my own self-esteem, whatever. So eventually it became just my passion. So fast forward like 20 years later, almost 20 years, like 15 years later, did my degree in kinesiology, did my certified personal training. Didn't really enjoy working for like big box gyms. I just felt like there's too many politics in it, and not a lot of money for the politics you have to deal with for like working at those big box gyms. So I started doing my own thing on the side, like going to houses, helping people work out in their own home. And that was really, really fun, and I really enjoyed that. But I just felt like, I want to reach a bigger audience. And then, of course, what's a bigger audience than the internet, right? So I just started messing around with YouTube, and here we are. You mentioned don't get comfortable. How do you think we can fight indulging into junk eating, binge eating, skipping workouts, and general slacking off? This is a very, very personal question, and thus you have to treat it very personally. So a lot of people, like it's easy for someone like my end or anyone to just kind of observe someone that's not doing like a lot of workout and they're, considered lazy or whatever, and really criticize them. But everyone has their own personal issues that might lead to the lack of exercise, the lack of, or the increase in binge eating, or the lack of eating whole foods. It could be in the environment you grew up in. It might be what your parents always fed you and you're used to it. It might be that you have a lot of stress in your life and you find comfort in certain foods or not doing certain things, and that's fine. That's just how life is. So that, in that sense, you're gonna have to figure that out for yourself for the most part. So when I had clients that had trouble with just not eating, or just eating too much, or even, I really never had clients that had trouble not eating enough, but for the most part I had clients that always had trouble eating, and I always relate back to like their habits of what they reach for at the grocery store. So they always had a habit of like reaching for certain foods because they're used to eating that type of food. And I was like, hey, let's look into your grocery list and see where you're buying these stuff. It's like, oh, I bought this because my mom always bought it and I love it, and it's always like remind me of home, but it's like a really big bad junk food that they're buying. Or that they're buying this because culturally this is what they always eat and they're used to eating it, and so it's like it's just the first thing they reach for. So for a lot of Asian cultures, that'll be white rice, which is not that bad, but the fact that it's very simple carbs and you can eat a lot of amounts and eat a lot of calories out of it. Like, people don't really pay attention to that, but it's like, oh, I'd always eat like a bowl or 2 bowls of rice for every meal. But then they didn't realize, like, that's 400 to 500 calories of pretty much almost near just straight carbs with a little bit of protein. So you have to look at those kind of environments, those type of habits that you built over time. And then you have to first and foremost is acknowledge it, understand it. Like, okay, is this really a good idea for me to do? Even though it's culturally, it might be what I've been doing all the time. Memory-wise, this is what my mom always got me, so I want to eat it. Then you have to be real with yourself. Like, is this the best choice for you? And then it's going to take a little bit of restraint. No matter what, it's going to take restraint. You're going to get uncomfortable doing certain things that you have to do now. But that's where you start. You have to figure out exactly why you do certain things and what you can do to change it. And then hopefully that will lead to more and more better decisions of eating healthier, working out more, and so on. So I could say the same for myself. Like, back then, before I started lifting weights, I still play a lot of video games. But like back then, like before I was 11 and all that stuff, a lot of Coke, not cocaine, a lot of Coca-Cola, a lot of rice, a lot of not working out, and just kind of sitting around, right? So before I kind of fell in love with the dumbbells and all that fun stuff, I didn't do anything. But once I started like developing this interest in the dumbbells, everything changed. Like, I started doing less of the game playing. Instead, I'll go do push-ups or work out, go for a run, and then that developed over time. So it might be something you want to consider. But thank you for the super chat. Sorry for the long answer. And I hope that kind of at least set you forward in some sort of path, some sort of direction that might help you out. What do you consider as natty? So, no steroids. That's pretty much it. Why does my body prefer losing fat in my face and arms, but not in my belly? My belly, bait skin. Is that how you say it? Bait skin. People just store fats in different areas. That's really what you have to pay attention to. So mostly a lot of people will store it around their abdomen region. Their booty. A lot of people store in their booty. Not everybody. So yeah, you might just lose fat. I'm speaking weird. Lose fat there last because that's where your body prefers to store it. How can I prevent muscle soreness after every workout? You can change the type of workouts you're doing, but if you don't want to do that, then you kind of have to just bear with it. So if you are following a program, I would say just bear with it. Eat more protein. Get your protein in. You might want to do some foam rolling before and after. See if that can help you. But that's about it. The best thing you can do to prevent or reduce soreness from your workouts is to keep working out. Sounds kind of counterintuitive, but that's how your body responds to working out. Kind of the repeated bout effect. Like, everything you do, every little kind of dose you take, your body becomes better and better at responding to it. So that's what you want to do too for your training. So the more and more you work out, the more and more consistently you work out. If you take a break, everything changes. The more and more consistently you work out, the better and better your body can respond to the soreness. Then you will be a lot less sore after every workout. But it will take you time to get up to that point. I mean, even like the strongest and most consistent people these days will get sore because either they change the type of workout they're doing, they do some sort of eccentric phase, or they change their rep ranges completely from, like, it's completely different from what they did before. So there are scenarios where soreness will come back in even though you've been training consistently, and usually a level of change that happens within your own training program that might lead to that. I'm 15. Give me a second. I have one of my mods that is trying to contact me. Give me a second. I need to handle these mods. Actually, I'm not sure how I do it. Manage moderate. Okay, let's just move on for now. Let's see if I can get that going later. Let's keep going. Ditzen, eating 2,700 calories a day, began working out 1 month ago, training 3 times a week, seeing some muscles appearing on my arms, but I maintain weight. Do I need more? So 3 times a week is totally fine. It's only been a month. I don't know exactly how much 2,700 calories means to you. It's different for everybody, right? So 2,700 calories for someone that's very skinny might be a surplus. Someone that's pretty big already, has a lot of muscle mass, that might be a maintenance or even a deficit. But let's just assume that is a surplus for you because you are gaining muscle But you do maintain your weight, so maybe you're closer to maintenance. Do you need more? I don't know for sure. I need to know your program more specifically. But if you are, let's just say that your training is pretty good, pretty sufficient for 3 times a week, and you're maintaining muscle, maintaining weight, and you're building muscle, you're good. You're just stay there. If you want to gain muscle a little bit faster, you might consider a little bit more of a bulk. So maybe like eat 100, 200 calories more than what you're doing now. And let's see if that gets you a little bit further, faster with your muscle gains. But it's only been a month, right? You're not going to see much in a month. You got to give it some time. Can you suggest a supplement stack for freestyle wrestling? I can't. Sorry. That's too specific, and it's not my place to give you sport-based supplement stacks. Hey, question. If you work out for 2-3 months straight and take a break for 1 month, then straight working out again, do you stop getting baby beginning gains? I'm skinny. I was gaining a bit of muscle. So beginner gains, it's the thing about beginner gains is that there's no strong definitive definition to it. There's no definitive term to it. So we don't know exactly when it's going to stop. We don't know exactly how it works exactly. We just know that for beginners, they have a much greater propensity for growth. So that can be muscle growth. That can be, well, mainly muscle growth. But also, like, you can actually lose fat fairly easily too. But you can build muscle very quickly. So is it on a time frame? Not necessarily. It's more so based on how perfect you're doing everything. So your training program is absolutely optimal, like you're maximizing it to the point, and your nutrition is perfect, and you're getting all the protein you need. Then you'll see your gains go pretty drastically as you continue and continue and continue. But then if someone does like a very insufficient training and eats very little protein or doesn't have a great diet, and they for the same amount of time frame, let's just say 6 months, of course the person that was having more of a perfect approach would hit their beginner threshold much quicker than someone that has a very insufficient or ineffective approach. So that's why there's really no time frame on it. Like, we don't know exactly how to perfect your program to the point where everything is absolutely perfect. All we can do is use best practices, like train 2 to 3 times, train your muscles 2 to 3 times a week, go for a certain hypertrophy volume if you can, get more protein, 1.6 to 2.3 grams. But again, it's still not clear exactly if that's going to be perfect for you specifically, for every single person. So in that case, we can't really put a gauge on how beginner gains, how long that's going to last, your newbie gains. But what I can tell you is that the best way for me to gauge it is just based on your what's the word? Progression. So let's just say I'm doing best practice as much as I can with a client, and they're gaining muscle, they're getting stronger. Every single week they put like 2 kilos or like 5 pounds on the weight, the bench, whatever, their squats, deadlifts, and they have no problem with a linear progression. So they always see progression after every single workout, every single week. So that, to me, they're still a beginner because they have that luxury of getting stronger and stronger and stronger without having to have like certain cycles that cater to certain adaptations. They're just getting stronger, more muscle, no problem. Everything looks good. And then when they start slowing down a little bit, so let's just say we're sticking with a linear progression program, and then 2 weeks in, they're not seeing progression, and then 3 weeks, they're finally seeing progression. Okay, then now you're kind of more in an intermediate phase, like less of a beginner. In this case, then you kind of had to change your program a little bit where you cater a little more specifically to certain goals so that you can maximize that goal first, and then you jump into a different block. Then, of course, when the stat slows down even more and more and more, and it takes like a month, 2 months to see any type of strength gains, then you might more so consider yourself as an advanced individual, as you can say. So in that case, if you work out for 2 months, take a break for 1 month, and come back, you're still complete. Like 2 months is nothing. 2 months is nothing in the grand scheme of things. So more than likely, you're absolutely a beginner, especially if you only started for 2 months. IG Giorgio, you asked a question, but it got retracted. I'm not sure what happened. Sorry about that. That's kind of weird. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna try to add one of my mods in right now, and if I could do that really quickly, I'll try not to slow you guys down. Manage moderators. Give me a second. Okay. All right. Sorry, I was just trying to get one of my mods into here. All right. Let's look at your questions again. 9 o'clock now. Wow. Time moves fast when you talk. Oh, what's up, Annie? Nice to see you. You know what? I forgot to join the voice chat. Let me ask if you want to join the voice chat. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. All right, let's keep going. Where did my browser go? Where did it go? Why is YouTube so confusing sometimes? Okay. I think I figured it out. All right, stop. Sorry for the pause, guys. I was just getting some things worked on. Let's go back to your questions. How important in your micronutrients every day if you track your macros? It is really important. So there's always deficiencies that people are going to run into. Usually it's going to be your vitamin B, your vitamin Bs, vitamin Ds, zinc. It could be also magnesium. So yeah, you still want to track it if you feel like there's a very likelihood of deficiencies, because if you're eating your macros, all macros or all foods are not created equal. So certain foods are going to have a certain amount of micronutrients and might have a high deficiency of others. So I would still look into it. Now you can use like apps like MyFitnessPal and all that great stuff. If you punch in all your stuff, they do have like a micronutrient profile for a lot of foods, at least the basic whole foods that you might eat. So if you're cooking a lot, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to kind of track those micronutrients. If you're eating a lot of processed stuff, or a lot of stuff like barcodes that are like pre-made or whatever, it might be a little bit more difficult. So you can try to use apps like that might help you understand your micronutrient profile a little bit better, see what you're eating, how much of it you're eating, and then hopefully that can push you a little bit further into getting all your micronutrients. So it still is important. How many days do I work out in a week? I'm right now at 3 to 4. 3 to 4. Could be more, but I've been a little bit sluggish getting back right now. But overall, I feel pretty strong. What would be the best 4-day split for a guy that works at home with dumbbells, an upper body bro split, or any other split? So if it's only dumbbell based, it's really hard to say. If I were you, I would just try to do some sort of split that you feel comfortable with right now. But whatever you can do, try to find your way into the gym. That's just for like getting, of course, more equipment is always better. And of course, dumbbells, nothing wrong with dumbbells, but there is a limitation to it, right? Just weight based, unless you have really, really heavy dumbbells. Even then, there's certain movement patterns that might just be better with a barbell, or even cables. So that changes a little bit. Is my stream lagging? Give me a second. So is it lagging? It looks live, but it seems to be freezing. Anyway, to answer your question, for what program you want to use for dumbbells for a 4-day program, you can look into our Discord. We do break down programs based on frequency, so maybe that can help you out a little bit. But for the most part, like, it is going to call for a lot of barbell movements. Sure, there are variations to it, but I would be. Is it yes? No? No? Yes? Okay, it is lagging for some people. I'll be very, very interested in trying to get you to more of a gym setting if possible. Of course, it's not always going to be possible, but try to do your best if you can find some way to get into the gym. But for now, there are certain programs that you can have variations. Like for deadlifts, you can do like dumbbell deadlifts. You can do single leg dumbbell deadlifts, which are decent variations for now. But if you want to absolutely just knock out the biggest weight you can, then eventually barbells is probably where you want to go. Okay, let me know if it start lagging like very badly, okay? I know sometimes it does get laggy. I'm not sure why. I try to be on stable connections as long as I can, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. What kind of gains and or progress can realistically be expected from doing only pull-ups, push-ups, and squats? So this is from Granty. Well, you'll get stronger lats. You'll get maybe stronger biceps. Push-ups, you'll get a stronger chest. You'll build some strong triceps. And squats, you'll get a little bit of quad, your quad activation, and maybe some hip work, depending on how you squat. But that really is. I mean, you can build endurance, sure, right? And yeah, you can have some sort of hypertrophic effect. But there comes to a point, like, especially if you're knocking out like 100 push-ups, like, easily per set, then you're probably not going to get a lot of strength or muscle gains. Well, you still get muscle. I don't want to say you won't, but it's just going to take a lot more work for you to get the same amount of muscle growth, especially with 100 reps, than you would with like a 8 to 12 rep range, where you can like do less effort, a little bit less work capacity, not feeling and throw up after every set, and still get more, same if not more muscle gains. Pull-ups a little bit different, just because the pull-up technique is going to be a lot tougher than doing something like push-ups as far as like getting more reps. So you can build a good amount of lat strength, lat muscles, lat growth, and even tricep and bicep growth, just a little bit, not as much as lats, with just straight pull-ups. But then again, the limitation is trying to reach a point with fewer reps. So if you feel like you want to work with a lower rep range, you need to add some sort of resistance training. But with pull-ups, you have a lot more room to work with versus something like a push-up or even a bodyweight squat. So bodyweight squat is probably best catered with some sort of resistance training, just because your legs are damn strong and bodyweight can only get you so far. Did it ever cross your mind that you would be the owner of a 1 million subscriber channel someday? Are you excited about it? You know what? I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I've always felt like, if I keep putting the effort in and keep pushing and try to get my videos to be better quality and more enjoyable and better information, I felt like for sure I'll reach that 1 million subscriber point someday. So yeah, I mean, I'm totally like, I don't take it for granted. I could tell you that. Like, I appreciate it a lot, and I'm more than thankful for being anywhere close to it. But I really felt, I told myself when I got into this, like, man, I'm gonna push for this. I'm trying to do as best as I can. And I never had a milestone goal. Like, I wouldn't say I'm going to go for 1 million subscribers no matter what. I just told myself, I'm going to make this as successful as I can. And hopefully it's going to be one of the more successful fitness channels on YouTube. And on my standards, I felt like, hey, got pretty close to that. And if anything, yeah, that's great where I am right now. And considering that, I don't show my face, I don't rely on my body to get myself some views, I'm happy with where I am. So thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. Let's keep going. Hey, PictureFit, what's your thoughts on 5x5 training like strong lifts? Nothing against it. I feel like it's very linear, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I do feel like having different rep ranges might be a little bit better. So let's just say if you have more of a strength-based approach or you want to have more power approach, then having lower rep ranges is a good thing. So having 3 rep ranges, 2 rep ranges, even high volume single rep training. Then of course, if you want to just like have a really strong hypertrophy push, hypertrophy block, then I do recommend having a higher rep range of 8 to 12, 6 to 12, because you will be able to build that volume fairly quickly and without necessarily having more and more sets. So more set volume might actually increase your fatigue levels, which will impact your subsequent training days and make you feel weaker. You won't be able to perform as much, and so on and so on. It's going to have like a more of a cascade effect over time, where you just get more and more fatigued without necessarily getting stronger and without necessarily getting bigger. Well, you most likely will get bigger as long as you give yourself some time to recover. So 5x5 is a good starting point, but then like I feel like branching out is not a bad thing. You don't want to just be in the middle all the time, because there are specific goals you want to cater to more specifically. Specific goals cater specifically. That sounds weird. So you might want to work with different rep ranges and different frequencies, by the way. Didn't really mention that. Is it going to help or make my shoulder waist ratio worse if I have muffin top going on and start doing ab workouts? You'll be fine. You'll be fine. The fact that you think working out will make your hip to waist ratio worse, you'll be fine. Get on a deficit. You'll be fine. What's my profession? YouTuber. It's funny to say. But my previous profession, which I will tap into again back in sometime in the future, back to the future, I was going to say that, is to go back to training. So actually training people, training clients, and hopefully I'll have my own gym starting soon, and I'll get that started. Because like as much as I like doing YouTube, and I just really enjoy working with in a person-to-person basis. Like actually help someone specifically cater to their results. It's awesome. And as much as like I can help you guys, like generally help you guys, give you guys very general tips and so on, being able to help someone specifically, help them lose weight specifically, see that weight lost together is like a different level of what's the word I'm looking for? It just makes me happy. Cruise. Should I lift heavy? Heavy. I lift a good amount of which challenges me with good form at the gym, but I feel like people are thinking I'm weak. Why? Who cares about what people think? But I also don't want to risk bad form with lifting heavy. So you're fine. So if you feel pretty good, feel like giving a good amount of effort, let's just say, like on a RPE, which is rated perceived exertion. Let's just say that this is just pretty much a 1 to 10, like a 1 to 10 how tough the set was. As long as you feel like your sets are like around 8 or 9, you're fine. Like just keep pushing, try to progress as much as you can. So if you're not following a very linear program right now, then what you want to do is try to cater to that RPE as much as you can. So let's just say if you're benching, I don't know how much you're benching. Let's just say 100 kilos, and you do 5 reps, and that's like an RPE of 8 or 9. Great. So next time, try to do like 102.5, 105 kilos. Maybe 105 is too much. And then try to hit another RPE of 8 or 9. Maybe it'll be 4 reps this time. That's okay. So next time you try it again and you hit 5 reps, and then now it's an RPE 8 or 9. Great. So keep trying to progress that way. But of course, I always recommend trying to get on a program so you don't get too caught up of trying to question everything, because you might not just understand it enough. That's fine. So get on a program. It's going to help you walk through that. But yeah, don't worry about trying to lift heavier for other people. Don't trip about that. You're good. You're fine. Hey, PictureFit. I'm 11 years old. Sorry, Adio. I can't help you. You're a little bit too young for the threshold. I appreciate you stopping by, though. But sorry, I can't read further. I cannot help you if you're too young. Come back in 2 years. Come to our Discord in 2 years. We're more than happy to help you. But Discord's age restriction is also 13 years old. So please come back. But right now, do your thing. Come back 2 years. How to get over muscle pain at my ribs? Go to the doctor. I'm not sure exactly how else I can tell you that. Like if it's especially around the ribs. Like what if you have a broken rib and you don't know that? I don't want to scare you, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you exactly what your pain is. It might be just some sort of oblique strain. I can't say for sure. Or just muscle soreness. I can't say for sure. So I love to help you on that matter, but just to play it safe, and you feel like if it's really bothersome and it's something you don't want to mess with, go talk to the doctor, man. Talk to the doc. Hi, PictureFit. What's the best workout plan? 1 bro split, upper, lower, push-pull legs, whole body workout. They all can work, man. I mean, if I would have to say one that's not as effective, it would be the bro split, just because the frequency is just a little bit lower than your upper, lower, and your PPLs and all that stuff. So I would say whatever you're doing, try to get 2 to 3 times per week per muscle group. Usually 2 is enough. And you should be fine as long as there are some sort of progression built into your program. So your UL splits, your PPL splits, and your whole body workouts, they should hit that frequency amount for the 2-3 times a week, so you're fine. But progression will be based on how that program breaks it down for you. So usually it will be based on just hitting certain rep range thresholds, and then you'll increase the weights. Some will be based on RPEs, some will be based on RIRs. So look into that. How old am I? I'm 31. I'm getting a little bit old, huh? I started when I was 27. No, 27? 26? No, I think I was 27. Yeah, I started when I was 27. So I was training a little bit before that. And then here comes YouTube. Hi, PicFit. I'm 24-year-old male. Been training for 1 year, but I don't see gains. What to do? If you've been training for 1 year, you really have to look at your program. You really have to look at your nutrition, because I mean, let's just assume that you are training. You've been training every single, like you've been doing whatever your frequency amount. Let's just say 3 to 4 times a day, a week, sorry, 3 to 4 times a week, and you've been going to the gym and you're not seeing any gains, you really need to look into your program. After a whole year, I mean, either you're not trying to progress yourself, you're not doing the right workouts, you're not doing correctly. There's a lot of questions about how it can be wrong, but for a whole year, you really got to start tamping down on exactly what you're doing wrong, because you don't want to spend more time doing the wrong things and never seeing progression. So in that case, come check out our PictureFit community Discord, www.discord.gg/PictureFit. And we'll be more than happy to help. Like, we really will be more than happy to help. So come check us out, and we'll get you started. Hopefully we'll get you on the right track so you don't have to use another year not knowing exactly what you're supposed to do. And hopefully start getting them gains, man. Take a moment to say again, today is Black Friday in the States, so I am doing 30% off on my t-shirts. If you see the splash screen here at PicFitShop.com, all your purchases will support me directly, so I don't have any middleman when it comes to selling t-shirts. I make everything at home now, like all the shirts, all the prints. I don't make the actual shirts. I actually buy that from the distributors. I can't sew shirts, but the prints, the shipping, the folding, all that stuff, all the processing to get you the shirt comes directly from me, so you can feel special, because I kind of touched all your shirts, a little bit, but make sure you wash them when you get them. But please come check out PicFitShop.com. Big sale going on right now, 30% off, and every purchase will help the channel directly, and hopefully, keep building some success on that. And I do want to start making 2 videos per week for you guys. As long as, this thing becomes very sustainable for that, I'm more than happy to make more videos for you guys. So please check that out. Okay, back to the questions. Why is my voice so calming? I don't know. My girlfriend never tells me that. She says I whine too much. Or did I say that? I'm not sure. But thank you. Hey, PicFit, how would you say to best gain mass on chest as I feel it lags? Sorry, I read that kind of weird. It wasn't your fault, it was mine. So look into your program. Hopefully you are following one, and let's see exactly what you're doing for your chest workout. So usually when it comes down to breaking down chest workouts, there will be 2 for each time you train your chest. So let's just say bench press is 1, and you do your bench presses. Hopefully you're hitting a good hypertrophy amount. Let's just say, 8 to 12 reps for 3 sets, 4 sets. Then you want to do a secondary, maybe an accessory, or maybe you want to do like another compound, but usually I would recommend just doing an accessory. So that can be like chest flies with cables, chest flies with dumbbells. It could be chest flies like with a pec deck, and hopefully that will be enough for you. But what you want to do is do that at least 2 times a week. So let's just say you do 8 sets per day for your chest. That should be sufficient, 8 to 10 sets, and I think that's a good place to start. And then do that twice a week, so 8 to 10 sets. So let's just say today's chest day, today on Friday, and then maybe on Sunday you want to do another 8 to 10 sets. So get that up first. So get that amount first. Get your frequency up and get your volume up, and then make sure you're having some sort of progression for it. So either you increase your rep ranges or you increase your weights. You can increase your sets. A lot of people like increasing sets. Don't necessarily have to increase frequency, but you can too. But it's going to take a lot more work. Or you can split your sets a little bit more throughout, like three workout days versus 2. But whatever you want to do is to have some sort of progression. At least target 2 times per week for for all your muscle groups, but specifically for your chest in this question, and to see where you get from there. Of course, your nutrition should be good to go to as well. So that could be 1.6 grams per kilogram body weight of protein, and then of course you want to make sure you're trying to maintain or at least be in a surplus for your muscle gaining goals. Hope that makes sense. Should I train with heavier weights during a calorie deficit? You sure can, and a lot of times I would recommend it. So yes, you can. Of course, your progression would not be as significant, or if any at all, any progression at all, versus doing it during a maintenance or a surplus. But yes, it's completely fine to train heavy during a deficit. Might just not feel like you can push as hard, but that's okay. Did I get a super chat? I didn't skip anybody's super chat, did I? I might have. Let me look into it. Okay, I did. So sorry. Fabrizio, sorry for skipping yours. I'm looking at it now. If I want to lean bulk when I'm skinny fat, do I need to do a protein-based diet with calories near maintenance calorie count, or what do you recommend? Okay, So yes, of course, every goal, I would always recommend trying to hit your protein first. I wouldn't say it's protein based. More so, you want to just hit your proteins first, so you understand how to allocate the rest of your calories. So skinny fat, I would recommend maybe 2 grams per kilogram of body weight, but this is my recommendation. You don't necessarily have to do it. You can stick with lower thresholds like 1.6, 1.4, 1.5. But like normally, I would say 2, assuming that you're healthy, you don't have any kidney problems. So make sure you check that box first. And then you can stick with maintenance. Maintenance is completely fine, especially if you're trying to go from a skinny fat. You might want to have a little bit of surplus on your training days, so maybe the 100, 200 calorie surplus. Maybe that could just be like an extra protein shake, right? And then hopefully that will help you increase your muscle mass a little bit because you're getting more protein, and you should be good to go. So the next thing you want to worry about is if your training program is sufficient. Hopefully it is, and that's a good place to be. That's about it. Jason Brown 12, thank you for the $5 super chat. Fell off the wagon and haven't worked out in a month, and I don't want to lose my progress, but it's cold outside. Yes, it is. How do I get back on the wagon? So if you can, go and deal with the cold. Of course, that's easier said than done. It's cold here too. I live in California, so my cold is probably warm for everyone else, but I understand that cold can suck. But if you can, try to find your way to the gym, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, especially when you get sore and it's cold. It's not the best feeling. But what I can tell you is that you try to push yourself through it. Again, it will come down to how you prioritize your fitness. And I understand everyone I fall off the wagon all the time, especially after an injury. But once you start building that mentality of prioritizing your workouts, code is nothing but a thing. And hopefully that will get you back to the gym. That's pretty much the best advice I can give you. Sure, you can do like body weight exercises at home, but how far can that get you? If you're a complete beginner, that might be actually sufficient. Just working out at home, do a body weight workout. But if you're like a little bit more intermediate, you already have like some good amount of gains from your previous gym sessions, then try to get yourself to the gym. All right, let's keep going. It's 9:30 already. Someone freeze the time. Actually, don't. It's gonna stay cold if you freeze the time. Okay, let's keep going. Hi, PictureFit. This is from Priyaj. I can't seem to gain any more muscle gains after 3 years of training. The initial newbie gains were great though. Anyways, great channel, by the way, helped me a lot. Thank you for everything. I'm not sure you had a question there, but if you're struggling to have any muscle gains, especially after 3 years of training, congrats for doing 3 years first and foremost. Then you have to change your program approach. So you might want to start doing blocks. You might want to undulate, which seems to be effective for certain people that already have a certain amount of strength and gains. So what I like to do is to have like a very either a 2-point block where you focus on 2 things at once, or just a 1-point block where you just do like hypertrophy, strength-based, power-based, endurance-based, whatever it is. And then the next block, I'll do like a something opposite or something different. So what I like to do, especially with people that run into like strength issues where they can't get any stronger, I'll put them on a hypertrophy block. So try to build some muscle first. Try to start putting more muscle mass on the frame, and then come back to a strength block with the added muscle. Hopefully that also means they have more motor units to recruit, and then thus they'll push a little bit heavier. That's the goal anyways. Doesn't always work out that way, but that's the intent. So that might be something you want to look into as well, where you start breaking down more specific goals and then cater to that specific goal. And then when you reach a certain amount that you wanted to, or you reach a time period, then you can transition to more of a strength-based goal. People do undulated as well, where they do actually both. So they'll do like a hypertrophy-focused week, and then they'll do like a strength or power-focused week. And they kind of like go back and forth with that. And that seems to be pretty effective for some people as well. So look into those. Look into like power hypertrophy training. You can still look at PPL splits that might have different blocks, more like a hypertrophy block and so on. And yeah, try to cater to those. Is cardio after weightlifting session bad? It's not that bad. I mean, I wouldn't personally do it just because I can't. I wouldn't feel up for it. But if you had to do cardio and weightlifting on the same day, then I would suggest you do it after your weightlifting, the cardio part, and you should be fine. I mean, it's there's some level of like concerns of interference effects. Sure, like might exist, but it's not that all that impactful. So I do have a video, I think 2 videos on this, where I ask if you want to do, should you do weightlifting or cardio first, and my ultimate answer is to do your cardio last. And then I have another video where it's asking, do cardio kill your gains? For the most part, it really doesn't, but it can hurt a little bit of it. And if you can, try to train or try to do your weightlifting on one day and then the next day do your cardio, rather than like do it together. Or if you can, do your weightlifting early and then do your cardio like maybe 12 hours after. So like weightlifting in the morning and then cardio at night. Hope that makes sense. Hey, PictureFit, what is that? Would you say 6 weightlifting sessions and 3 90-minute swimming sessions a week is too much? Depends on what you're doing during those 6 weightlifting sessions. If it's a decent split where you have like moderate volume for your muscles, then you're fine. I mean, sure, cardio is, from the swimming, I personally can't do it, but there's nothing wrong with it. You're fine. Just make sure that whatever you're doing during your 6 weightlifting sessions is like you split your volume pretty decently. Like you don't want to do high volume every single session, right? You want to have a good amount split where is either moderate or maybe a little bit intense, but not to the point where recovery is like definitely shot after every workout. Using creatine and not achieve daily protein, then what is the cause? You gotta ask your question again. I'm not sure what you're asking. Hi, PictureFit. What should I do for my hair fall? I'm also using creatine. Well, you might not want to use creatine, since creatine does have a connection to something known as dihydrogen testosterone, DHT, which on the surface level can accelerate hair loss. So pay attention to that. But what I can tell you is that some people are just susceptible to hair loss, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. I'm sorry to tell you. Hopefully I don't lose my hair. I feel my hair is decent right now. Hopefully I don't lose it. But yeah, there's a very heavy genetic component to it. I mean, if like the greatest athlete, the most highly paid athlete, LeBron James, loses his hair and can't really remedy it until this year, funny enough, then, what's to say us common people can have better resources to deal with it. But he had a hair transplant, so just to let you know. Hey, PictureFit, best way to bring up lagging side at delts. Never feel a pump. So delts, I understand delts can be a little bit tougher to feel that pump feeling, especially compared to like your biceps, triceps, chest, whatever. So understandable. What I can tell you is just try to maybe work with a higher rep range, maybe a 15 rep range if you really want to build that metabolite in your delts, and make sure you're doing your side raises correctly. So a lot of times when people do side raises, they will engage a lot of anterior delts, their front delts, and their lateral delts won't feel much of that activation. Same for your overhead presses, your dumbbell presses. It's very anterior delt heavy, and you won't have that full activation stimulation of your side delts. Thus, that pump might not necessarily be there. So look into your form. Maybe work with a little bit more of a high rep range, and also try to employ some mind-muscle connection. Hey, PictureFit, I finished my cut, so I'm trying to figure out my maintenance by doing a weekly average. So far, I lost another pound after the week I last cut it. Last cut, I think you just say cut. How much should I increase my calories? So if you're still losing weight, and you look, how much did you lose during your maintenance trial? You lost another pound, so you might want to increase your calorie intake to 300 to 500 per day, and see if you can maintain from there. Okay, let's keep going. It's 3 days of eggs, 3 eggs a day healthy, because I've seen some studies showing that eggs increase cholesterol level. I made a really old video on this where I really got to revisit this, and I might actually be better off asking other people to answer this for me in the future. So I'm gonna look into like a better, more expert-based answer to this. But what, from my previous understanding, is that the cholesterol gain from anything you eat is often balanced by how much cholesterol your body itself produces. So if you eat more, your body produces less. If you eat less, your body produces more. Now, this is assuming that you don't have a cholesterol issue in the first place, right? So if you do have the cholesterol issue, then this type of balancing regulation might not be as effective or even pertinent. But again, I'm just gonna leave it there because I don't want to give you a bad answer and then you'll be a little bit lost on that. But if I can, I'll try and make another video kind of revisiting this whole cholesterol thing. I'll let you know though. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it there. If you are worried about your cholesterol, ask your doctor, get your cholesterol measurements, and see where you stand. But for now, that's my understanding as far as like the cholesterol regulation. I'll see if I can do more. Hey PictureFit, what upper body muscles do you think need to be trained the most to be a better distance runner? And with resistance training, should we aim for higher or lower reps? So with any sport you do, it's very movement specific. So that's why you always hear people say, train for your sport, or the SAD principle, specific adaptations of imposed demands. So if you want to be a better distance runner, when it comes to lifting, you might want to do like high rep ranges of squats, high rep ranges of lunges, and so on, but not necessarily heavy lifting or hypertrophy based lifting, because maybe the muscle mass might be an issue for you to actually travel further. And so you have to cater more specifically to those type of adaptations. So when it comes to distance running, I really don't know exactly what's better than just doing more distance running. I never trained distance runners, so I can't tell you for sure, but I'm pretty sure a lot of it is just based on understanding how your body responds to certain energy systems. Like if you want to kind of like maximize your energy systems and make sure you get your fluids, especially like very long distance running, and see how your body responds to like the wall, glycogen repletion, glycogen depletion. But for the most part, when it comes to like weight training, maybe the best adaptation that might transfer over to your endurance running would be high rep range training for your legs. But other than that, I can't say for sure. Hey PictureFit, what exercises do you recommend for stronger hamstrings, glute ham raises, Nordic curls? Look those up. That's a good place to start. That's good. What's with all these emojis, man? Moroccan rap. If I answer your question, okay. What is better for gaining weight, carbs or protein? I would say carbs is easier, but I would suggest you get more protein. And I would like for you to chill with your emojis. Thank you. Hey PictureFit, is it bad to eat oxidized protein? I have whey protein that smells stale. Get better protein shakes. Get a new one. That's all I can say. If it's bad for you, don't take it. If it smells bad, just like your food, right? If you have chicken and it smells bad, are you gonna eat it? Are you Jeff Nippert using a voice changer? You never seen me and Jeff Nippert in the same room, have you? Well, you never seen me, periods, but you get the gist. Yeah, Annie, deal with that guy. I'm not sure what he's asking. Please answer. Hey, PicFit, full body or upper lower split? Please help me. Full body or upper lower split? If you're gonna ask me, I like doing splits better. But you can do full body. Okay, if you're gonna do full body, let's just say you do 3 to 4 times a week. I always say day. I don't know why. Then with full body, then you might have to be a little bit careful with how you split the intensity of each muscle group. So let's just say for full body, you don't want to do the same amount, same volume for every muscle group every single time. So let's just say first day full body, I'll favor or I'll prioritize bench presses or pushes in general. So I'll do very high volume bench presses. I'll do like some pec decks to increase the volume. But then day 2 of my full body training, I'll prioritize doing like more squats or more pulls, and then maybe like a light volume, low volume bench press, and then a light or low volume bench chest fly. And that's it. So, but then that takes a little bit more work. You have to really pay attention to how you're breaking down every single full body workout, because you don't want to do high volume for everything to the point where fatigue is just going to kick your butt. That's why splits are a little bit more popular, because you're able to split it and you don't have to have such a strong nuance on every specific workout for every full body training you're doing, because you can be a lot more consistent or linear with how you approach your every muscle or every workout you do, versus full body where you have to pay attention to how you split it. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Are you guys having trouble hearing me? YouTube's being a butthead, but I hope you guys hear me fine. What is the longest you have ever fasted, and what is your opinion on extended fasting greater than 2 days? I never fasted more than a day, so I did my 16/8. I enjoyed it actually. So just to let everyone know that even though I might not have the most friendly intermittent fasting video out there, I actually enjoy 16/8 fasting. And what I do understand though is that it's not going to do anything magical for me. So even though I do 16/8 fasting, I'm not going to tell people like, oh man, it preserves my muscles so much better than 3 times a day eating. I like 16/8 fasting because it allows me to eat less, especially when I'm trying to lose weight, without feeling too hungry. That's it. Hey guys, it's 9:45. Apologies, but it's kind of late for me. It's hour 15 minutes now. Quick announcement again. PictureFit.com, 30% off right now. Black Friday sale for all shirts that are on the site right now. So please come check that out. I think that's a pretty good deal, to be honest. And again, I make all the shirts myself, so there's no middleman. Every bill, every cent you spend goes directly to me, and of course, like transaction fees. I can't do anything about that. So you'll be helping me directly by purchasing through the PicFit shop, PicFitShop.com. Please come check it out. 30% off today, and probably run the sale for a little bit longer through the weekend. But check it out today. If you find anything you enjoy, please come support. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Annihilation. Thank you, Annie. So if you guys don't know Annie Bass, can I say your full name? I already did. Sorry. Thank you for helping out on the channel. And of course, he's on Discord. So if you guys don't know, Annie is pretty much a nutrition expert, and he's a nutritional student right now. But he's awesome. He's probably the smartest guy on the Discord server right now. So if you want any help with your nutrition, go to Discord, our Discord community, and he's more than happy to help. He's awesome. Hey, PicFit, life story, please. What do you want to know? I make videos for a living. There you go. I'm not leaving yet. I'll answer like 5 more questions. But if you're leaving, thank you for stopping by. Thank you. And thank you for all the people that did super chat. I really appreciate it. Hey, PicFit, did you know that according to some research, 27% of variation in BMR is unexplained by sex, age, height? Where did it go? The question just disappeared on me. I was reading it. Oh no, it is there. Okay, sorry. Lean body mass. What are your thoughts? Of course, there's variations, right? Unexplained? I don't know. Maybe I can't. If science can't explain it, I can't possibly explain it. BMR is a little bit tricky. Maybe just the measurement BMR, even through like metabolic chambers, might not. Might not be as precise as we want it to be, so we can't fully explain it. But sure, there might be variations, and it might be nutrition based. It might be mental based. I can't say for sure. Who knows? I don't really have no comment or opinion on it. I was like, I'm more like, oh, that's very interesting. What do you think about vegan lifting? The game changer scared me. Don't be scared. You'll be fine. If you're eating animal products, that's okay. You're gonna be fine. Vegan lifting, if you enjoy it, that's cool too. Is it necessary to drink a pre-workout before every workout? I'm a beginner. I'm 15. I do drink a post-workout after recovery workout. Thanks. Okay. Pay attention to your size, your mass, how big you are, because caffeine can be based on mass. Can affect you differently. So you might want to take your amount taken should be based on your mass. But just to let you know, if you are 15, I typically don't recommend any supplements because it's not my place to say so. But you can take a pre-workout, if generally speaking, yeah, you can, and it'll be fine. It's not necessary. Of course, it's not necessary. You can still perform and still see gains without the pre-workout. Pre-workout, especially a caffeine-based stimulant pre-workout, might help you with a few more reps. That's all. How to mix marathon training and weightlifting. Prioritize one first and foremost. So if you prioritize marathon training, then you do a lot more marathon training, you do your runs and all that stuff. And then weightlifting, you more might be a secondary thing that you want to do. Maybe you have an aesthetic goal that you want to meet, then you do like a little bit of weightlifting on the side. But just because of how polar opposites they are, because you are going to do a lot of type 1 fiber work with your marathon training, your legs might not be as adapted to adapt to both at the same time. So pay attention to that. I would just choose a prioritize one first and foremost, and then use the other one as a secondary until maybe you're done with all your marathon training. Let's just say you're like off season and you want to get more aesthetic based goals, then you switch your priorities. You don't need a post workout, just to let you know. Maybe you want to take a little bit of protein after, but you don't necessarily need a post workout. Nothing like 1 hour after. You don't necessarily have to. You don't need a pre-workout either. It's just a little bit of boost. Like literally, it's just a little bit boost. Some might help you with again a few reps, but nothing spectacular. Where like, oh man, my life changed because I'm taking a pre-workout. It might feel nice though. Hey PictureFit, I have a problem when I do my leg days. When I'm squatting, for example, I feel I'm doing more cardio than legs. I can't really feel my legs getting as tired as my heart is. Well, your leg muscles are pretty darn huge, so it's going to take a lot of blood flow to it, which might put your heart a little bit extra work, so I can understand that. Everybody feels a little bit gassed with their squats, so don't worry, it's not just you. Maybe not everybody. People that are really good at endurance, probably not. But so don't trip out too much if you feel that way. What I can tell you is that if you're not feeling it, then you just try to do a little bit higher intensity. So maybe you want to shoot for like a 5 to 8 rep range rather than maybe you're doing like 10, 15. That might be too much. So try to progress it a little bit as far as strength based. Hi Jeff, PictureFit. I can only train 3 in a row per week. Goal is hypertrophy, full body or split PPO. So you're doing 3 times. Personally, I would say you can do a full body just because it will help you with hitting that frequency that I've been talking about, 2 to 3 times a week. There are some PPL splits that are 3 times a week as well, so you might want to look into those. But personally, I like the idea of doing total body if you only have 3 days a week. All right, guys, I'm gonna start wrapping it up. But let's answer maybe 5 more questions, and then I will start closing it out. Again, Black Friday sale going on right now. PicFitShop.com, 30% off all t-shirts. Let's do 5 more questions. Hey, PicFit. Is it bad to do a workout consisting of 100 push-ups, 150 mountain climbers? Ugh, oh, man. I almost threw up hearing that. Sorry. And 150 planks, side to side every day, and do ab workouts, chest workout every day. Okay, the only issue I have, well, actually I have multiple issues, but the main issue I have with this is the progression. Is just, as great as 100 push-ups are, 150 mountain climbers are, it's going to keep you at a point, at a certain fitness level, sure, no problem. It is definitely going to keep you at a certain fitness level. But if you have like very, very specific goals, like you want to build muscle, you want to get stronger, like actually build much stronger, like higher than body weight lifts, then you're going to have to work with weights no matter what, like for the most part. Maybe you could get away with other calisthenic movements, but for the most part, if you want to get stronger in weights, you have to do weights. But there's nothing necessarily wrong. Like, that's better than doing nothing. 100 push-ups is pretty damn tough for a lot of people. 150 mountain climbers is just torture for a lot of people, myself included. The side plank, side to sides, I don't think that's very effective. 150 might get you exhausted, but itself is not very, I feel like, efficient workout. So you might be better out just doing like some weighted planks or some weighted side planks, or even just do more actual flexion for your abs, or your obliques too. So lateral flexions and rotationals. But that itself is okay. It's just as, there's going to be some limitations versus working at the gym and using some weights workouts. But nothing totally wrong with it. But really just, it's based on what you think is okay, I guess you can say. Opinion on diet breaks. I'm really considering taking one because my BMR is falling fast. So how long have you been in a deficit? If you're having a really bad deficit, like very strong deficit, or that's what's explaining your BMR or any of your TDE going down, then I would first and foremost revisit how you're approaching your deficit, because like the only people that I know that should be suffering from very bad drops in BMR are people that actually do bodybuilding competitions, right? Because they will try to reach those deficits fairly quickly and very heavily while still training. So in those cases, I understand. You can try some sort of reverse dieting. You can try some mini cuts. You can try some diet breaks. Yes, you can. But don't overdo it to the point where you just put on a chunk load of fat, right? So look at it that way. I do have a super chat kick in here. Thank you, Hesky J. Got a job where I'm burning 3,000 calories a day. I work at a zoo. Ooh, that's cool. I struggle a lot with eating and have failed over the last 3 years gaining weight. Advice. If you're struggling with eating, I had to really, these are one of the questions where we had to break down what the struggles are. Like, everyone could say they have struggles, but it all comes down to specific, like what's causing that struggle. Is it some sort of habit that you're used to? Is it because some foods you just can't digest? Is it that you don't have maybe the financial means? Whatever it is, we had to really look into it more specifically. In this case, since you did do a super chat, which I do appreciate, if you can, please join the Discord community, and then you can tag me specifically. Hey, I'm the guy that did the super chat. And I'll try to answer your question about your 3,000 burning calories per day and your struggle with eating, because we have to look at a more specific approach, look exactly what's wrong with what you're having issues with. So on a general answer, okay, what I can say is that, okay, maybe you should try to supplement. So that will come down to like a protein shake, having a protein shake, and then maybe throwing some extra things into it, like fruits, nuts, other grains, maybe oats, and try to increase the calories into that protein shake itself, and hopefully that's like a good amount of calories you can use for your big calorie burning days, right? So that's kind of a general approach, but again, I do want to help you more specifically if possible. So come join the Discord community if you can. All right, let's answer a few more. 2 more. If you guys don't, 3 more. I think 3 more is fine because super chat doesn't really count. Hey, PictureFit, push-ups don't work on pecs and necessary burn is not felt. Instead, arms get tired. What should be done for activation of pectorals? And suggest some home workout for the same. If all you have is home workouts, it's going to be tough, right? First and foremost. You can try a little bit of a wider stance with your arms with the push-ups to see if you can engage your pecs a little bit more. Try to use mind-muscle connection. So if you don't know what that is, I do have a video on it. So search YouTube mind-muscle connection and see if that can help you out. But the idea is that you want to try to engage and concentrate on activating and contracting your pecs during your push-ups more so than your arms. And that might help a little bit. And hopefully that helps. But just like anyone else that does like bench presses, sometimes your triceps, your arms will get tired, exhausted faster than your chest, and that's a very common issue. So what I would then recommend is that you either strengthen your triceps a little bit so you can push a little bit heavier weights, because if your bottleneck, your limiting factor is your triceps, you want to get that stronger. But also then if you want to build your chest a little bit more, then you're going to have a secondary accessory workout like a pec deck, chest fly, and so on. But then again, that's going to be gym-based, and if you only have home workouts, then I would suggest you use either mind-muscle connection or, yes, mind-muscle connection, and also maybe change up your positioning on your push-ups to see if you can engage your pecs a little bit more. 2 more, guys. Shivam, I have been training for 8 years. I've been cutting for the past 4 months. I'm really vascular, but still can't see my lower abs unless I really pump up and stretch my skin a little. I guess your question is like, how do I fix that? So what you can do, I'm guessing, is that you still have a little bit of pocket fat on your belly there, and that's okay. What you gotta do is keep cutting. That's it. One more, guys. One more, if you guys don't mind. Hey, PicFit, what are the best high-calorie foods that will help me gain weight? Skinny 16, 11-year-old. Usually... Okay, so this, you can check out our Discord too, because we do have a list of foods, but usually going to be like whole foods that are a little bit more simple. So like fruits, you can have more fruits. You can have more grains, a little bit more grains, which is processed, funny enough. But then, protein shakes are good too. So that's what I would recommend. And yeah, so if you want a little bit more idea, like exactly what works for you, because it's going to be like, based on whatever preferences you have. Check out the Discord community. I'm going to answer another question because I wanted to help you a little bit more on that, but it feels like, it's somewhat unanswered because I do want to help you a little bit more. So join the Discord community, and I'll answer one more question, and then that will be it. Hi, PictureFit. I have been training. I thought I just answered that. Shivam. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but I kind of answered your question already. I hope you heard it. All right, Abraham. Last question. Hey, PicFit. I'm currently in my bulk, and I've gained lots of strength, good muscle mass, but some fat too. When do I know to start my cut? When I do I mix cardio with weights along with deficit? So when to start a cut will be based on your own preference. So if you feel like you're gaining a little bit of fat, but you are satisfied with the amount of strength you're gaining, then you can actually start your deficit now. Of course, you want to like kind of ease yourself into the whole process, because if you've been on a surplus for a long time, then it's a little bit different, and you kind of like don't want to just engage in a straight deficit right off the bat, because it's gonna be tough. So maybe you want to ease yourself into that, but you can necessarily start now if you wanted to. What I would recommend is you try to do more of a maintenance approach, maybe a recomp approach, where you're eating closer to maintenance, maintaining the same amount of workouts you're doing, try to progress as much as you can. And if you'd want to, you can try to add a cardio on your off days. And that's pretty much where you want to be first and foremost. See if that works for you first. So stay near maintenance, and then get a little bit more protein if you can, so that you'll be maintaining with a higher level of protein, which might help you preserve your muscle if you do start losing weight. And then hopefully the added cardio would put you in more of a deficit stage during your off days. And that's it. Start there first. But again, it would be dependent on what you consider as like important for you when to cut. Like, okay, I'm gaining way too much fat, I need to cut now. Or if you want to be a little bit more proactive, like, okay, I'm gaining a little bit of fat now, and I'm really happy with where I am as far as strength and muscle gains. Let me try to maintain right now. Let me try go in a recomp if possible, and see where I can what I can do with that. And after like 3 months, and you're happy and you're losing fat and you're maintaining your strength, your muscles stay about the same, then congrats, you're exactly where you want to be. But if you want to build a little bit more muscle and the fat doesn't bother you that much, maybe you want to keep your bulk right now. But again, I'll answer these questions first. What's your end goal, and how do you want to reach that? And are you satisfied with where you are now, and what can you do about it if you're not? All right, that's it. All right, guys, thank you for all the questions. Again, last advertisement here. PicFitShop.com having a sale right now, 30% off on all t-shirts. Thank you for spending your great time here this Friday with me, or Saturday. I'm not sure what time zones all you guys are, but thank you for stopping by anyway. Really appreciate all the questions. Really appreciate all the super chats. I hope my answers have been helpful. And what do you guys think? Should we do this a little bit more? Like maybe not once a week. I don't want to say once a week right away, but I do want to see if I can kind of find some way to engage you guys as much as I can, right? Especially like someone that, doesn't reveal their face or whatever. I do want to find more outlets where I can reach, where you guys can reach out to me, and I can reach out to you guys and talk to you guys and have a good time with each other. Maybe we can do like few games in the future. I hooked up my Nintendo Switch to my computer, and now I can stream that. If you guys are interested in that too, maybe I can do that. Something like we do like I could beat all you guys in Mario Kart or something, and then you guys could feel good about that. I'm just kidding. I'm not that great. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. We'll do more of this. It seems like you guys are down for that, and I'm totally down for that too. So once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks. We'll see. We'll touch base soon. Just to let you know, this is not the last time we're gonna do a stream. There will be another one in the future. Okay. Thank you. Closing the stream now. You guys take care.